committee together. In order. 5:30 on Tuesday, October 11th, here in the first floor meeting room. First item on the agenda, 71 Pinnacle Road, requesting the installation of additional street light.
Just you did sign, it's a special meeting where you can only speak on one of the three items. Did you want to talk on one of them?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
So who's speaking on this?
Paul can give you some background on our staff recommendation. We moved the meeting several times. We did let her know that it was tonight, so we're not.
I don't know exactly what you have in your packet.
Got a letter from Ms. Lisa Aru from 71 Pinnacle.
Okay.
She's asking for a new street light.
background.
Sorry about that.
You can see her request, and she more or less feels that it's dark in the area of her driveway. And also, there's a map we have showing where the existing lights are in relation to her property, and there's a photograph of where she is. So you can see there's, if you look at the overall map, where the street lights are, there's a little more space between her property and some of the other ones. It's not really outrageous. You're going to have to look at it. There's no, we wouldn't necessarily recommend it as far as safety.
Said you wouldn't recommend it?
Would not as far as safety of the roadway.
Right.
There's no, you see it's pretty flat, pretty open. No obstacles or hazards on the side of the road. The problem, as you know, is we don't have an objective standard to look at these things. It should be X number of foot candles, X number of feet away from the light, so it's more or less a judgment call whether you think it should be there or not. I don't know if any of the members had a chance to go out and look at it.
So is this...
I'm sorry.
No issues, PD's got nothing as far as report, no other issues as far as plowing, no complaints from our group on garbage recycling pickup as far as inability to see? Okay.
We did a quick estimate based on what contractors charge us for new poles and new lights. The last one that we did was actually a knockdown, which the replacement cost was about $4,200. In that case, the electric service was still in place. It was just a matter of running up the pole and having never supposed to come back. In this case, you're going to have to run electric service probably from the box in front of her house. So it'll be a little more than that. So a rough estimate would be $5,000 about this lighting.
Is she aware, based on item 2 tonight, that we will may be swapping out at some point soon and we might be able to get a better throw?
I don't know, but my guess is that she is not. We have not talked to her. But as I say, with the relamping, we'll get a little bit of evaluation, photometric evaluation, and the new fixtures might throw more light than the existing
Yeah, so
ones.
from what we've seen, we certainly get more throw up and down the road path.
The only other potential option, later on the agenda, talk about the relamp. We talked to one of the bidders about doing another pilot program. We discussed some locations with them if you want to shift one of them up here.
Well, I mean, we've probably got plenty of other places that have same similar issues. So is this 425? So we got 265 between first pole in on the street, and then 425 in between. That's the distance that we're concerned about, right?
212 would be 5.5.
Right.
So it's like...
That's even shorter than our normal distances, right? So you saw how much throw we get up the street from
Yeah.
the increased.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I think that might potentially solve our problem.
I'm just wondering,
best interest, yeah.
this is a great residential installation on the other end of town where we get a lot of dark
Yeah.
streets. So it might be something where we could look at, maybe perhaps this as one of the initial continued pilot installations.
Are you Mr. Road from Pinnacle Road?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
I just wanted to make
hello.
sure. Yeah, she just wanted.
Hi, I walked by before and I went in another room that, I'm like, where was that?
Did you make any decisions in there for them?
No, I didn't know what they were talking about.
Well, welcome. We're talking about you.
Oh, okay, good, that's a good thing.
So we're talking about the current condition on Pinnacle and your request for an additional existing street lamp type.
Yes,
So we're in the process now of evaluating, changing out portions of the town, ultimately going to switch probably the whole town over to a different type of lamp called LED. Are you familiar with LEDs?
yes,
You might have heard about it in your house.
Yeah.
Or something. So it's different from the type of light that's up there now.
okay,
And it works differently in the sense that you get, and again, you have to just go back and call these things what they are, street lights.
right.
So they are, the primary purpose is to light the street light. And sometimes there's some spillover light sidewalks, but its primary purpose is to light the street. So in the case here, this installation might benefit from the LEDs, would actually throw more light further than the lights that we're looking at here.
The problem is, there is no light on each side of me or across the street, so the spot that I'm in and the house across the street, we are in a total dark. I look out my living room window, I can't even see my driveway. My fear is, if I don't put the spotlights on, if there was somebody standing in my driveway, I couldn't tell you if there was a person standing there, or across the street. We are the two houses, which it's like where the road comes down straight, it bends a little bit, then there's trees. The house next door to me has a light, but it's on the other end of her property. So I have no benefit from that light at all. The next light, it's a house over, but it's on the other end of the property, which is too far from me to even get any light benefit from that particular light. Neither one of those two lights are both on the other end and the other end. I have, and across the street, there is two lights, one on the crossover Hill Street and Chapel. That's the four-way. There's one there in the middle. There's one at the beginning near the sidewalk for the corner. There's another one just before the White House, the first house on Pinnacle. And then there's nothing all the way down, coming down into the street, on which is the right-hand side. There's no lights at all the way down, like another 4 or 5 houses all the way down. So across the street, there's no lights at all. There's some on the side of my house, which is my neighbor on her other side of the property. Then there's us, there's trees, there's another house. That next light on that same side, it's on the other side of the property.
So we've looked at this with our city engineer, you're looking at the city engineer here, and we've looked at this from the standpoint of what is the displacement of these lamps. Again, with the primary purpose to light the street, they are not, there's some benefit from bleed over in the lamps that does light again, as I said, the sidewalk and some portions of people's property. But that's not the primary, secondary, or any purpose of the street lights, is to provide lighting onto your property. So if you need additional lighting on your property, if you wanted it for your driveway, that's your responsibility.
Well, I do have lights in my driveway.
Good.
And I have one over my garage.
Right.
My point is, if my lights are off, my lights over the garage, it's not on. I can't even see, because that particular area, from this property to the next property, there's no lights at all, not across the street, not on my side, and it's really dark at that point, and also across the street. We basically are the only two houses that are more in the dark. You know, I mean, I don't mind put my lights on, I don't want to have them on all night. Electricity costs a lot of money.
Certainly.
I don't want it to cost me
Yeah, we're
an
not
arm and a leg, you know.
proposing that you light up the city.
You know, but everybody else has lights because this particular light benefits the two houses there and the one across the street. Comes towards my way, those lights don't benefit me at all, like near my house.
So as we get
Yeah.
close to this LED installation, before we would evaluate perhaps putting a new light here, we'd want to see what the benefit this LED would provide us. So
Yeah.
that's something that we're going to have to work out with the director, the city engineer, and the rest of the other folks.
Do you want to show this or share some
Yeah.
shape pattern? You want to...
Take a quick look here. Sure. And the city engineer can expand on some of these
See these
issues.
circles right here?
Yeah.
These are the two light posts. See the disc that I drew right there?
Right.
That's the light pattern that you have on your street right now, which makes your house, the area of the street in front of your house dark. See how the new ovals, the ellipse
Yeah.
pattern? That's the new throw of the new LED lights. So you're probably going to get more street light down on your house.
And this new LED lights are going to be placed in the same position
You're
they are now?
going to remove the light bulbs that are already on there and retrofit new lamps, but they shine a different light pattern on it,
More
elongated.
okay. Well-
So you may gain benefit in what Chairman Dunn's saying, so you should
What
probably
if I
wait.
don't? You guys going to come up and
We
put
should
another bulb?
probably,
Yeah, we'll take a look at
we
it
should take a
then.
look at it first.
You need to come up at nighttime.
That's what we do. We
Yeah.
do the evaluation.
I missed it. When I got to my house, sometimes I count the houses, so I'm the fifth house down the road. Sometimes, one time I did miss my driveway, because that's how dark it was. I'm like, and I went right past it, I'm like, oh geez, I just missed my house, I backed up, and then I went into my driveway. You know, so,
Well, from the reporting on the Director of the Public Works, we have not had any incidences in the street as far as accidents go, as far as...
No,
So we're
no.
concerned, those are another elements besides
Yeah.
providing, you know, folks who live on the street.
that is not my concern. There have not been any accidents because of that or anything like that. My concern is, if I got up in the middle of the night, or when it's dark, and I look out the window, if somebody was standing in my driveway, I couldn't tell you. If somebody was there with a gun, I couldn't tell you. You know? And if we go out and I forget to put my lights on in my driveway, when we pull up and you shut off the car, it's real, real dark, because like I said, I have trees on this side of the property, and if there was somebody off my driveway into my property, into the yard, near the trees, yeah, I could look, but I'm not going to be able to see anybody there.
Right. But again,
Yeah.
we have to just stress with you,
Right.
understand that's your responsibility to illuminate your property. So that's just...
Right.
You may not get this benefit even with the LEDs. We will light the roadway.
Yeah.
The spillover onto your property is not one of the purposes of streetlights.
Yeah.
So,
Well-
just for you, so to be clear, because as the council person just told you, this new lighting system will
It's going to
expand
expand.
further.
I understand.
And again, we'll perhaps illuminate the sidewalk, but its depth penetration, one of the concerns
Right,
on
but-
the citizens' part is how this lighting changes, and it might be too bright.
Yeah, if it expands a little lower onto my street, I'm not saying to light up my driveway, but to light up at least the area of the street that if I was looking at somebody was like at the end of the driveway or onto the street, I'd be able to see it.
Yeah.
If there's some lighting, but it's really, really dark.
Let us continue this conversation
Yeah.
with the Department of Public
Okay.
Works as far as how this
That-
integration of LEDs,
Absolutely,
which
yeah.
is going to be put around the city on various types of roadways as we go into some of these phases, because it's going to be a phased approach. And see, at that end of town, we might be able to have a residential aspect to that first phase that might look at this area.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, sure, fair enough. I have one more question.
Sure.
Is there a reason that the lights are only on one side of the street and there's nothing across on that side of the street coming into the street onto the right? Is there a reason for that?
Might be a historical issue with a
Isn't it
development.
one here, one here, and then down like the opposite, usually on the streets? But across the street from me, there's no lights, right almost from the beginning of the first house all the way down.
There's various justifications for development as
Yeah.
a private or a public development goes
Yeah.
in. based on state traffic commission rules,
Yeah.
standards within towns, et cetera. So in this case, I'm looking at that pole, that looks almost like a private development pole, doesn't it?
I can't answer because
Because it's an older installation, so
Okay.
at what phase this was placed in a development, it's hard to tell. We don't
Okay,
have
okay. I thought that
any
there was
knowledge
a
on
reason
that.
why that there's so big of a stand on that side of the road that there's no lights. I thought that they usually put lights in one here, here, and there, like the opposite, so that, you know.
Yes.
So the light poles are the only things that are there.
Right.
Yeah.
Jim, you said the utilities are on the
The
ground.
utilities are underground, so these poles are specific. I mean, they were placed, and I mean, I can't answer why they were that, but they're only holding lights.
Right, I saw that, so that's what I'm saying. That might have been a developer's issue since
Yeah.
everything's underneath the ground. So as a private development, this went up. It might have been a different standard by which this developer placed them in on one side
Okay.
for aesthetic reasons, et cetera.
Right.
As you're thinking, it might be great, alternate for...
Yeah, alternate the lights, so everybody has a little bit of light on the street, yeah.
So depending upon, there's city regulations, there's
Okay.
state regulations, developers do things on their own. So
Right, okay.
Sometimes there's
I understand.
various justifications for this. In this
Okay.
case, we don't know exactly
Okay.
why this would be, that it's
So-
only on one side.
And
So-
when these changes are gonna be happening, at any time soon, or?
I'll
with the
find out
LED
better
lights?
as we discuss the next item on the agenda, when we might be doing this next
Okay.
phase, but we would be in touch with you.
But this will be the next project that you're gonna be doing in that area?
Depending upon when the phasing goes for
Okay.
what residential, industrial, downtown, I won't know exactly when this is going to happen.
Okay.
But it would be something that we'd want to consider before we approve a new pole with a traditional light on it first.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So we would
Sure.
get back to you.
Okay, fair enough.
All right?
Sure, no
Thanks for
problem.
your input, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay, thank you so much, I appreciate it, you're listening to me. I mean, I've been calling for over a year now, and I'm like, okay. So, okay, I appreciate it.
We'll get back to you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. You have a good night.
You too. So, recommendation is to put this off until further discussion on the status of LED implementation?
Yeah, you wrote that, you don't have to do it in form of a motion. If you want to, you can, too.
All right, item 4C.2, review and discussion of RFP 2P 17-016 streetlight LED retrofits proposal, including the LED streetlight conversion.
You've all received packages from the purchasing agent with the results of the RFP.
Yep.
And the telling thing on that is actually the spreadsheet that Roger had generated.
I believe you did get a spreadsheet that I had prepared as well as the fees, is that correct?
It was in, I think it's in the package thing that you had. I didn't bring mine in here, so.
I didn't bring mine either.
Keep going. No, it's towards, there's individual.
I apologize if I didn't bring mine down as well either.
I have everything here, I just have to find it.
Well, no, that was one of the firms specifically.
Yeah, that's the itemized savings.
I can tell you,
Right
I-
right here,
I-
financial analysis,
Yes,
right?
that's it.
Roger?
Yeah.
that's it.
The only thing with that is that there's a mistake in the last two
There is an inversion of headers.
submission. What you see is, right after the submission.
Bear with me for one moment while I...
Sorry, where's the mistake?
The mistake is in these two columns. So it's actually Power Secure has a simple payback of 5.06, and Tanco is a
Oh, so
simple
these are
payback of
transposed.
5.22.
So the
Correct.
names are
So
transposed
Power
on the
Secure,
columns.
The whole columns, or just?
Correct.
Just
whole
the
columns.
names, just the
It's
names.
you can
the
even
names
just
are
convert the
transposed.
columns,
Yeah,
the headers.
The whole column for,
All of these costs are
Understood.
attributable to
Okay.
Tanco.
Okay,
All of these
I got
costs
you.
are
Yeah.
attributable to
so
Power
this
Secure.
is, So this is actually Power Secure. and that's
Roger, how is
actually
it
Tanco.
that Power Secure is
Lower?
$200,000 lower?
They are offering a product that is different than the GE product that is listed within there. They are offering a product by Philips. We are in the process right now of developing a pilot for you so that you'll be able to go out into the field and be able to look at what a Philips product is that's installed and get a comparable opinion of how well does that rate in context of the GE product. So. But they've done a number of installs. If you look through the proposal, Power Secure has done a number of sites with Philips fixtures. So it looks like Philips is a reasonable fixture for us to deploy. Ultimately, I want to make sure that you're satisfied with the actual spread of the fixture and that it's actually providing appropriate lighting. But it does look as if that would be an acceptable solution for us.
All three of the firms were pre-qualified by CCM. I mean, if you wanted to talk with them, we can arrange that, but we didn't think it was necessary. What we did is staff did meet with Power Secure last week and worked out with them an arrangement to set up a pilot, which is in 5 sites, very close to where the other locations that we have Tanko do things, so you can, and since those are still there, you can actually do a comparison. Yeah. And actually, I just approved that PO today, so I'm not quite sure when they're going to be up, but they should be up relatively soon, and we'll let you know. And then either as a committee, we can do a special meeting, or if you want to do it individually and talk again. I don't know that we'll have things up and you'll have a chance to evaluate it by next Thursday, but at some point we'll do that. But we would recommend that as long as the Philips units do appear to meet the purpose based on the simple payback, and we would recommend from our staff standpoint that you would go with Power Secure as a recommendation to the City Council. But we are setting up that pilot just to make sure that the lighting does do what we want it to do.
I thought we did benefit from the group being together because everybody got to see and was able to, I think, feed off the perceptions, especially when you get something like this where, I don't know how much you heard about Mrs. Aru and her concerns about
I apologize for coming. I didn't hear it.
requesting additional street light right now based on traditional lamping. We think there's value in perhaps looking at an LED before even approving she wants an additional pole. Let's just see, based on existing pole installation, if an LED installation up there provides that length increase that we had seen in some of these others. So I think that we should all see this, and plus we don't have to stay out as late, probably not at this time of year, right?
Right. We can be out by 4:30 looking at that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Also, you're not going to be in short-sleeve shirts.
That, I don't know. Today?
You never know, right?
Give me a couple of weeks, I'll stay in the short sleeve. So I think it would be best if it was possible to arrange for the group.
Okay.
Through the chair, Roger, the 1.4, that's the entire cost for all the luminaires in the city, right?
That is
All the
correct.
street luminaires?
That is correct.
Okay. Great.
And remind me again how, I know it's supposed to save us money, how long would it take to recoup that one?
That's the bottom number that shows on
5.22
there is
years.
roughly 5 years.
Oh, that's what that means, okay.
That's the simple payback, so that within 5 years we will have recouped our investment. of
What was the
1.4.
what was the line item we carried on the capital plan? Was it 2 million?
I think it was 2.
2.3 maybe, or
It
was
was
at least
less,
2 million?
It was less than 2.3, I believe it was 2.
Okay, all right.
Correct.
Maybe even, it was definitely 2 something, I know that. Okay.
It may have been less than that, but certainly you're well within
Yeah, no, I
appropriation
just
for
wanted
it.
to, I wanted to make sure. Okay.
And I believe we had asked for the higher number, primarily due to our numbers that we had from when we had met with Amoresco
Prior,
on the
yeah.
investment grade energy audit.
Okay.
So that seemed to be an appropriate number to carry at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So we're gaining advantage of time in this
Yeah.
case,
Yeah.
advancement of technology.
And if I can ask another question, obviously, we may not have the answer now because we haven't looked at the new luminaires, this, that, and everything, but what is the going to be the strategy going forward in terms of rolling this out in phases? Are we going to do, what is the timeline? And the only reason why I ask is because if a constituent calls, I'd like to have something to say. After we make the decision with whoever we're going to decide to go to, obviously they're going to give us a schedule, but what are we looking at? Are we looking at an entire year? Are we looking at 2 years? What's your best judgment? I don't know who can answer that, but.
I would say that would be less than a year, somewhere
Okay.
between 6 months to a year.
Which would make sense.
To do the whole city?
To do the whole
Yes,
city.
it makes sense.
And it won't necessarily be a phased approach, it'll be a continued approach.
Continued.
So they'll do a block of streets,
Yeah.
and then they'll continue over and do
Okay.
another block of streets. And as they do it, they will then, once they finish the installation, they will then go to Eversource, ask for the rate adjustment, so that then we gain beneficial advantage,
Gotcha.
and then bill us for the installation of those fixtures, move on to the next set of streets, just in continuing progression until all
Because
those
the
things
snow
are
won't,
accomplished.
the snow won't.
It shouldn't
stop them.
impact their work, so they can continue in different types of weather.
The snow on the ground won't days that it's snowing. but-
Right.
So
And then
basi-
after the installation, we also then would file for a rebate to offset.
Correct. I did have conversations with Eversource to confirm that the program is still active and that they're aware of what it is that we're doing.
Okay. And, the only reason why I ask is because we understand this is a fairly big project, but it would be nice for constituents to see that, we're progressing on something. This is, and the only reason why I ask is a lot of other municipalities around us have done so already. It would be nice for them to see something from the start to the finish progress in a timely fashion. That's
Well, it
all.
links in nicely to the release of the energy plan, too.
Yeah, yeah.
And also
Correct, yeah, we're all-
issues with the
Yeah.
fuel cells, and
Mhm.
all the other things that
Yeah.
are going on with clean energy.
Coming together.
So it's all knitting together nicely, so.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably the most evidence people will see
Sure.
about savings, advancement, et cetera. Anything else on the issue?
So we will inform you when they're, and then coordinate a special site meeting.
Where would the site be?
Approximately 5
They're the
sites?
same 5 areas, there's 5 areas. One is up on Willis Street, one is
Indian Trail.
in the Indian Trails area, one is on Main Street, one is on
Barnes.
West Street by South,
Tulip, you also have?
and then the other is on the Barnes.
So, that's residential. But we changed that wattage, didn't we?
They did change those out on Barnes.
For the higher wattage or lower wattage?
Well, we went from 15 to 25.
Yeah, they
Okay.
increased.
Because remember
Yeah,
how
'cause
low that
those
was?
were low, yeah.
But
Okay.
even still,
No, they were still good.
still
Yeah.
good at
Yeah,
that low level.
absolutely. Yeah.
So. Anything else on C2?
Nothing else, Mr. Chair.
Item 4C.3, simple recycling, collection of soft recyclables.
Yes, this was something that came to us, and it's in a too simple to be true type category when we first got it. But we've had a meeting with the representative of the company, and what it is a proposal for a firm to do curbside collection of those soft recyclables, those clothing and other things. It'd be outside of the city. We would not be, we wouldn't handle them at all. When we met, we had several questions, and you have the answers to those questions. There's also a spreadsheet with information on other communities that have used, it was there, that are, there it is in the very back, that are using it, and that they've all actually had very good results. They're residents, they haven't had issues with litter, which was one of our big concerns, and some other things. But looking at, we would recommend that you as a committee would endorse it and forward a recommendation to the Board of Public Works to...
In time for next week?
Well, we did not send this to Corp Council yet for a review of the contract, but in the so we would have the Board of Public Works recommend to the council the approval of the contract subject to Corporation Council review. But if you're acceptable to that recommendation.
Would we get an additional bin?
No, you're going to, the resident will get a bag and a label, and you put that bag out at the curb, and they would do it at your normal recycling day. And you're not going to do it every week, but they give you an 800 number, so that if you use it during the year, you'll have the label. You can just put the label on another bag and put it at the curb, and they'll know that it's that material. And there is a provision to give some more bags out, which is one of the questions we have. But the thought is people at the most are going to do it 2 to 3 times a year, put out these type of materials. We didn't think that they'd be doing it, that frequently. It might be at the very beginning, it'd be like a house cleaning, but one of the things we did talk to them about is that the materials do get cycled back to the local agencies that get the opportunity to get those. So people could still give them to those directly, or they could go through this method.
So it wouldn't get picked up unless you called them the number?
No, it will get picked. They're gonna actually drive the recycling routes every week.
Oh,
And
okay.
so you don't have to call them, but if you use your bag and you need some more, there's a number you can call, or if there's some problems, there's a number you can call. But they'll also, and what they'd rather that you do is use the postcard that's a tag, and if you have an additional bag.
So, big brothers and sisters, several other placards come to your home asking for donations like these soft recyclables to be placed out in front of your house, and folks get tax breaks from those things. Will this provide some sort of, is there documentation that somebody can get if they're looking for those types of things for their year-end taxes?
We could provide the name of the company that you're giving them to, and it's similar to what you would do. You self-declare.
As long as somebody's got some sort of documentation if they get asked. I don't know if that's, because that's what gets provided when, I'm trying to think of a couple of, Ambets does this, I think there's other soft recyclers. Additional questions? Concerns? So I'll make a motion that we forward this to the monthly Department of Public Works meeting for review further by the Corporation Council.
As chair, you really shouldn't.
Right, so.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move it to Public Works Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I will get a hold of her, and I'll have that answer for you before next Thursday.
All right. End of the formal agenda. I've got just one other item. When we changed over to membership currently of the Miscellaneous Matters Group, prior to that we were working on the Policies and Procedures Manual and the update of that. So I thought we might reinvigorate that effort. Again, this is just a manual that the department has that is a amalgam of a number of different procedures and policies that are written in different voices, etc. As I think I might have explained to you, it's more of an effort to bring a single voice. It's semantical, grammatical, it's not rewriting things, it's not from whole cloth creating things. So I thought that perhaps at the next meeting we can bring up the review of that, take a look at it, and then perhaps in subsequent months then start. We were trying to do 1 or 2 procedures or policies a month, just to look at them, edit them, come back and approve them the following month to get this.
We can do that. The only thing we will have to do, I can probably do it once, have Sherry here, but Monday afternoon she actually leaves earlier. I think I can probably get her to attend one meeting to discuss it, but to do those, we'll probably ask you to do some special meetings when she's available.
Like it's a workshop kind of thing. It'll take, maybe half an hour.
Okay.
Right?
All right, so we'll put it on the agenda for next month.
Great.
Through the chair, these policies and procedures are for the office staff and employees of Public Works, or what type of
Covers-
policies and procedures? The entire operation of the?
Entire operation.
Okay, that answers the question.
I should have brought the manual with me.
No, that's, so we're almost like a global, still a local department. Fair enough.
And we've gotten probably through a quarter of it. Again, like I said, it's various generations of individual policies and procedures that are written in different voices that we provide a single voice to this, and I think it will make this document much more succinct. Right? Great. All right?
Okay.
That's it for the agenda. That is motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourned we are.